Welcome back, Real Deal Knights. Sorry we were gone last week. We traveled away for a team-building exercise.
Needless to say, it was a bloodbath.
Kyle failed to catch Brandon in the trust fall, so then Brandon proceeded to try and steal Kyle's soul.
Yeah, hey, look, there he goes again.
Go, Kyle, go!
Okay, while Kyle runs for his life from a wannabe Ed Sheeran, let's get back to the episode ahead. We've got Shelby Deal, Logan Lewis, and a whole lot more.
From Ball State University, The Real Deal starts now. Welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm Eli Brunsman.
And I'm Angelo Oriema.
Do you think Kyle's still running?
I don't know. Brandon seemed really persistent.
Do you think they'll make it back by the end of Hollywood headlines?
I don't know. Let's find out. Madison?
Hi, and welcome to this week's Hollywood headlines. The stars of Game of Thrones seem to be faring a bit better in the love department than their characters. Earlier this month, Kit Harington and Rose Leslie announced their engagement, and now it's looking like another Stark is preparing to walk down the aisle as well. Over the weekend, Sophie Turner also got engaged to her favorite Jonas brother, Joe Jonas. The couple revealed the news with carefully coordinated Instagram posts. There aren't any details as of yet as to when the wedding will take place, but hopefully someday soon, the couple and their wedding guests will be enjoying cake by the ocean. Marvel fans will be jazzed to hear that Marvel has debuted the first full trailer for the upcoming Black Panther movie. The trailer shows Chadwick Boseman's character T'Challa returning home to the kingdom of Wakanda after the death of his father and transforming into a hero as he defends the fictional African nation. The trailer also provides a closer look at Michael B. Jordan's character Eric Killmonger, who attempts to overthrow T'Challa. One of the most eye-catching clips in the trailer is an epic fight between the two characters. And of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel movie without a glance at a new and improved Black Panther suit. The movie hits theaters February 16th, so be on the lookout. Finishing out my Hollywood headlines is the Me Too campaign. It's a social media campaign that focuses on empowering and showing support for victims of sexual assault. The hashtag has been going around multiple social media platforms since Sunday afternoon. Actress Alyssa Milano was one of the first to share the call for the hashtag, writing, "If you've been sexually harassed or assaulted, write Me Too" as a reply to this tweet. Since Sunday, 650,000 tweets have featured the hashtag, along with more than 12 million posts, comments, and reactions happening on Facebook. Other stars have used the hashtag as well, including Lady Gaga, Kaya Scudelario, and Anna Penguin. And that's all I have for this week's Hollywood headlines. I'm Madison McGill, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Madison. Now, in early October, the comedy world lost one of its best.
Logan Lewis is here to tell us more. Logan?
Ralphie May was a wonderful, hilarious soul taken from us too soon. Ralphie May was one of my favorite comedians of all time. His humor was not for the faint of heart, but was never out of line. His use of racial, sexual, political, and many other topics saw him to be controversial to a lot of people, but honestly, he was just telling it like it was. He made fun of everybody, holding nothing back, and nobody was safe from his jokes, but that's what they were, jokes. In reality, Ralphie was one of the sweetest, most genuine people anyone knew. I've heard countless stories of the deeds Ralphie had done for other comedians, and he was loved immensely by the comedic community. He got his big break in comedy when he came second place in the first season of Last Comic Standing in 2003. Ralphie went on to have an amazing career. In total, he released 7 comedy specials, 4 for Comedy Central, 2 for Netflix, and 1 that he released on his own. Each of his specials were an amazing experience from beginning to end. He's one of the few comedians where I can watch his specials multiple times and laugh my head off every time. I cannot begin to describe how funny Ralphie really was. A lot of my humor was inspired by Ralphie, and I credit him for helping me shape my comedic tastes. Ralphie unfortunately passed away last weekend at the age of 45. He had been battling pneumonia for several weeks, which led him into going into cardiac arrest. Ralphie is survived by his wife and 2 children. His death impacted many people both in and out of the entertainment world. If you have not heard any of Ralphie's comedy, I urge you to listen. If you don't have Netflix, you can find several of his specials on YouTube for free. He was unapologetic, sarcastic, insanely witty, and did observational comedy better than anyone. Ralphie once said, "If you're going to dance with the devil, you might as well lead," and he absolutely did. Rest in peace, Ralphie. Thank you for the countless laughs. That's all for this edition of Entertainer Spotlight. Back to the dynamic duo of Angelo and Eli.
Thanks, Logan.
This week for our shameless plug, we have Rob White and Parker Carlson.
They'll be discussing politics, brainwashing, and R&B.
Within all of the same topic or separate?
They'll have to tune in to find out.
Oh, I like what you did there. Sneaky.
Thanks.
Sneaky.
We'll be right back after the break.
The very talented but also very reclusive R&B duo Division just released their sophomore album, Morning After. The duo consists of singer Daniel Daly and producer Anthony Jeffries, or better known by his producer name 1985. They are both signed to Drake's music label OVO Records. 1985 has been producing music for Drake for a number of years and is responsible for hits such as One Dance, Hotline Bling, and Hold On, We're Going Home.
The year is 1962. America is at the height of the Cold War. The threat of communism looms over the states as everybody holds their breath, even at the mention of the Soviet Union. Just as the Cold War reaches its peak, John Frankenheimer, George Axelrod, and Frank Sinatra make a movie made of American nightmares, The Manchurian Candidate. Directed by John Frankenheimer, The Manchurian Candidate follows a Korean War hero, Raymond Shaw, as he is brainwashed to kill the presidential nominee.
Welcome back, loyal dealies.
Angelo, they're real deal-nites this episode.
But dealies is so much better.
You were the one who came up with real deal-nites.
I didn't think Madison would take me seriously. Sad puppy.
You weren't supposed to read Sad Puppy.
Well,
Calm down, let's just move on to Shelby with a review of a new Netflix show.
okay, happy puppy.
You weren't supposed to read Happy Puppy either.
Angry puppy.
Okay, Shelby.
American Vandal is a new show on Netflix, and let me tell you, it is laugh out loud funny. The story is a mockumentary about a senior in high school who gets expelled from school because they think he spray painted penises on 27 of the teacher's cars. The boy is adamant that he didn't do it, and that catches the attention of another student who decides to make a documentary about it with the help of a friend. One of my favorite parts of this show is how we get to hear everyone's opinion about the vandalism of the teachers' cars, who did it, and their opinion of Dylan, the accused. The person making the documentary conducts a series of interviews that allows the viewer to get a look on the inside of a lot of the characters' heads. This adds a whole lot of layers to the story because it really describes the school environment. From the audience finds out that most of the school population thinks that Dylan did it and that his reputation adds up to him being lazy, stupid, a troublemaker, and a stoner. This was a really organic way to get exposition across. Another part of the show that I liked was that as the guy was still filming the documentary, he put together episodes and put them on YouTube. It exploded, and it was interesting to see how that impacted Dylan and his case. A lot of the people that thought he did it ended up starting to question how everything was handled. One person even started selling free Dylan t-shirts. It also shows the teachers and school faculty getting nervous about the popularity of the documentary, leading to them being looked at as stupid or corrupt. One guy even got fired for saying on film how hot one of his students was. The filmer does not go easy on the teachers, questioning every single one of them, and this leads to them not being allowed to film at the school. This aspect of the show really worked because it made the whole environment of the show change, and it is exciting and keeps the viewer watching. The show also has some messages, whether they are intended or not. It is obviously a satirical show with how over-the-top exaggerated it is. It seems to comment on the fact that people have preconceived notions about people and how people let that dominate any other impression of them, even if it contradicts the preconceived notion. It also shows how people get a conviction without there being hard evidence, just an assumed opinion about that individual. However, the show does not feel preachy because of how satirical it is. The funniest of the show draws attention to these issues, but in an exciting and interesting way. Overall, this show was super amazing, and I would definitely recommend that this is a show at the top of your binge list.
Thanks, Shelby.
Look at this notification I just got.
What? Louis Weisman caught red-handed with juicy juice that was used to murder former Real Deal host?
He's going to need a really good lawyer.
Whew. Speaking of lawyers, here's Lanisha to talk about the new movie starring about Thurgood Marshall. Lanisha?
The movie Thurgood Marshall is a must-see for all ages. It is an historical film directed by Reginald Hudlin, and written by Michael and Jacob Kosoff. The movie tells the story of the first African-American U.S. Supreme Justice Thurgood Marshall, played by the talented Chadwick Boseman. Thurgood Marshall was known for many successful court cases during his career. For instance, the history-making Brown versus Board of Education. But the story focused on Marshall's very first case. The case Illinois Thurbin, played by Kate Hudson, a wealthy white woman who accused her chauffeur and butler, Joseph Spell, played by Sterling K. Brown, of raping her and pushing her off a bridge. Through the NAACP, Marshall partnered with a young Jewish lawyer, Samuel Fryman, played by Josh Gade, to defend Mr. Spell. This story touched my heart because it lays the foundation of the positions and power African American people hold today. Through the hardships, this movie gives every person hope in knowing that there is a better tomorrow. Working harder than yesterday pays off when your dream is bigger than your circumstances. I admire people who shine a light on this movie to help others to be informed. One of these people is Chance the Rapper. In an effort to lend a hand, Chance brought out 2 Chicago theaters and publicly invited everyone to go and see the movie for free. So Chance, I applaud you. According to the Chicago Times, Richard Rofer, Marshall reminds us that before the legend, there was a young, tough warrior. Marshall was released on Friday, October 13th. I am excited to see this movie with my family, but I am more excited to witness this amazing historical event.
Eli, look at this.
Former Real Deal host Logan Sowash becomes the first ghost Supreme Court justice? Louis has no hope. Wait, are you reading Brandon's Twitter again?
What do you mean?
See, look.
No, that's Brandon's furry fan page.
Oh, whoops. Here.
No, that's the Space Jam fan page he has.
Isn't that just the same thing?
Okay, Eli, I think we need to give Brandon a talking to during the break.
Good idea, and we'll be right back after we call HR.
A woman vanished last night. We just found the body.
Prince?
Skies of blue.
Damn. Girl, that breath smell like it's been in the Civil War. Anytime somebody got breath like that, honey, that bad, something's going on inside.
That's gonna make me throw up.
Welcome back, everyone. That goes to you too, Eli. I was scared for a second when Brandon came in between us like that.
He was like a mountain of pure ginger rage.
I thought he was gonna steal our souls or something for going to HR.
I think he is HR. I just saw him take off his glasses and put on a fake mustache.
Wait a minute, is that why all of these complaints I filed against him never go resolved?
I don't know, and we'll have to investigate this during the next segment. Take it away, Brittany.
This past weekend, I went and saw the movie The Mountain Between Us, directed by Hania Abu Assad. When I first decided to go see this, I had many thoughts, opinions about what the movie would be about, considering it is under the theme of romance, survival, adventure film. I thought it was going to be your basic movie about love, where 2 people traveling end up lost and have to learn to survive together. And I was completely correct about that. In this movie, stars Idris Elba, who plays a surgeon, and Katie Winslet, who plays a journalist, are both in Idaho trying to make their way to Colorado. They end up finding a man who has a small plane to take them. Well, if you didn't already guess, the plane crashes, and they end up in the high Utah's wilderness, both with injuries. They try to wait a few days for someone to come rescue them, and they do realize that the flight plan was never made because of the last-minute decision to go. They end up going on a trip and hope to survive. Although I have bashed this movie a little bit, I really did like it. There were many ups and downs and moments that kept the audience guessing what would happen next.
I would suggest this movie to anyone who loves romance and a little bit of adventure. I think that the way this film was put together was really great. You got to see a lot of beautiful sights on the mountains while really learning a lot about the characters. And the best part of the movie was the dog, because who doesn't love a movie with dogs? If I were to rate this movie on a 5-star scale, I would give it a 3 out of 5. This mainly being because this movie being very similar to other romance survival adventure movies. It was still a great watch, just don't expect to see anything unique.
Thanks, Brittany. However, I would have given it a 5 out of 5 just for the dog.
You know who actually in the real deal reminds me of a dog?
Brandon?
Yeah, but no. Hey, Brandon, no. Bad dog. Hey, not on news like that. Okay, how many times do we have to...
Did you forget to take him outside before the taping?
No, I promise I did, Eli.
Well, who's going to clean up the mess? Nose goes.
All right, well, I'll go grab it back.
While Angelo goes and cleans up our EP's mess and revokes all Guitar Hero privileges for the rest of the season, here's Noah Bullard with what Brandon's going to be missing out on. Noah?
What's up, guys? For this episode, I'm going to steer away from the norm of what we normally cover here on Real Deal. This week, we're going to be talking about Guitar Hero. And since my fall break, my friends and I have been playing the crap out of a game that none of us had touched in about 7 years. There are so many things about Guitar Hero that make it infinitely playable. There are several different versions of the classic Guitar Hero games, including one with only Van Halen songs. It's impossible. I tried it. One that's set up more like Rock Band, that would be Guitar Hero World Tour. It's a classic series of games, and the songs on them are all hits, so there's absolutely something for everyone. If you're bad at video games and you have no rhythm, have no worries. Play it on easy mode. You can still jam out to some great rock songs with ease. My personal favorite Guitar Hero game has to be Guitar Hero 3. Why? It's got the best track list, and it's got the coolest characters. It features Slash and Rage Against the Machine's Tom Morello. As soon as you pick up the game, the rest is pretty simple. There's no plot, no depth of character, but there is a career mode where you and your band unlock new songs and new places to play. And these games deserve another go-round if you're looking for something fun to do with your friends or you're just nostalgic for the games of your childhood. The games are immensely playable. They've got an interesting graphic look to them that isn't necessarily good, but you don't mind it because you're concentrated on hitting the right notes. And when you get up into expert mode, the game becomes downright frustrating. I have a friend that's incredibly good at it, and I get mad every time we play together because he beats songs that are so difficult they make me want to pull my hair out. But if you think you're up for the challenge, throw your settings on to expert and change it to Hyperspeed 5 and try playing through the fire and the flames. Have fun. And I give this game a 4.5 out of 5 stars because it gives you everything you didn't know you wanted. Until next time, I'm Noah Bullard.
Thanks, Noah. You know, personally, I like to play I Love Rock and Roll on brutal difficulty. So.
Angelo, brutal isn't even a level on Guitar Hero.
That's how extreme I am.
Okay, Angelo, we'll be right back for our final word.
Happy birthday. You scared me.
Every civilization was built off the back of a disposable workforce.
Everyone's already inside. Bye, Dad.
An explosion rocked the city today.
Hey, for my final word, let's talk about a movie that's totally original and has definitely never, ever been made before. Happy Death Day. While we were at Heartland Film Festival, Angelo, post-production producer Michael, and I decided to see Happy Death Day to kill some time. We kind of took the whole thing as a joke at first because how many movies are about reliving the same day? At least 3. But honestly, the movie was pretty good. It wasn't a piece of legendary cinema, but I really wasn't expecting it to be. The dialogue was funny, all the loose ends were tied, and the plot continuously kept me guessing. I absolutely hated the main character for most of the movie, but I think that was the point. There were many moments where I laughed out loud, and the scarier moments definitely made me jump. I think the main actress did a fabulous job evoking her terror and frustration. She and her co-star had great chemistry, and it seemed like they were an actual couple. The movie also delivered a touching message about family and morality. It made me think about the way we treat others and allow them to treat us. But my favorite thing about Happy Death Day was the unexpected ways in which Tree, the main character, dies. You never know if she's going to get knifed down at a frat house or doused in gasoline and caught on fire. There are some things I didn't like, of course, like the unoriginal depiction of sorority girls and their catfighting. But but I think this movie deserves a 3.5, maybe even 4 out of 5.
I completely agree with you, Eli. In fact, I went into the film expecting it to be utterly stupid, and while it certainly was to an extent, I had a blast. There's definitely a fine line you have to walk between stupidity that's just mind-numbing and unfun, see Transformers for examples, and a film that is self-aware enough to have fun and wear the badge of stupidity with honor and pride. Anytime I thought that I had caught the film for not tying up a loose end or just being plain out lazy, it slapped me on the wrist and then answered the question almost immediately, which deserves a fair amount of credit for knowing what its audience is going to be thinking. I wouldn't go around recommending Happy Death Day to anyone. I mean, there's nothing that makes it stand out, especially amongst the other films that are so similar to it, like Groundhog's Day or Edge of Tomorrow. But it is a fun enough time that if you're with friends or looking for a party movie, this is a solid choice. One big gripe that I had with the film that hasn't really been covered by a lot of people, you touched on it, Eli, though, is that the protagonist, played by Jessica Rothe, who actually does a surprisingly stellar job in one monologue in particular, well, her name is Tree. You know, tree. Like the foliage. It's short for Teresa, but that's all the explanation they give for it, and it doesn't save it from being so extremely distracting. Whenever a dramatic event would arise, and I thought, boy, I sure hope Tree gets out of this okay, it completely took me out of the experience. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that the world is full of diverse names and unique names, and I respect that. I mean, our names are Eli and Angelo, for crying out loud. But her name was such an immediate discussion point to everyone I talked to who saw the movie. It detracted and distracted from the tension and tone that the film was going for. Hollywood definitely needs more diverse names. I'm so sick and tired of Johns, Jims, Kellys, and Katies and every cut and paste name in the book, but the writers had already done a solid job with naming her Teresa. I mean, think about it. How many Teresas do you know? Now, I know what you're thinking on it. Hey, maybe Tree didn't like the name Teresa because it's so uncommon. So she decided to make a nickname for it, so she'd blend in more. And so she settled on the much more common and unassuming name of Tree. You know what, that doesn't make it, okay, I can't take this anymore. In fact, I was gonna give Happy Death Day a solid recommendation and a 3.5 out of 5, but now it gets a 0. 0 stars for the name Tree. Instead, it gets 3 trees out of 5 stars. Yeah, good luck with that, aggregate sites. I just gave this film a J out of 10.
That's quite a rating system you've got there.
I've tried to pitch it to IMDb, but they just keep rejecting it for some reason.
I wonder why.
Beats me. Maybe I can get our website team to adopt it or something. So. For more on The Real Deal, check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Angelo Oriema.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. We'll see you next week.